Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurudeva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Narayana. Hari Om and greetings from Niagara Falls. If one does not accept a vice that they have, anger, jealousy, frustration, this vice lasts forever. This mental illness is not different than a physical illness. If I don't accept that I am overweight or I have high blood pressure or even cancer, if I don't accept it, it lasts forever. It worsens. Accepting our vices and our virtues is most important. We keep on thinking. And the more that we think, the more tired we become. Our thinking is not conscious, is not deliberate. We just keep thinking, and maybe a better word is brooding. I could have done this better. Why did I say this? How come I didn't join this? And one just gets tired. The tired is not physical, it's mental. We keep entertaining. We keep entertaining our thoughts. The thought to stay up late, we keep on entertaining it until we can't not stay up late. We keep entertaining thoughts about, I'm going to say this to this person when I meet them. And I keep entertaining it, and I speak harshly then. When our thoughts are not supposed to tire us, they're supposed to make us more enthusiastic. Our thoughts are not supposed to make us a victim. We're supposed to be exhausting the source of the thoughts, our desires, our vasanas. Manah Shodanam is a most realistic text. It's not too high, it's not too low. It's exactly what a seeker needs, what a yatri needs. This is why we're studying this in our yatri satsang. We've all crossed oceans to go on our yatras to Trinidad, to Sri Lanka. And crossing that ocean required some time, some resources. But the real ocean that a yatra is supposed to help us cross, that a yatri should be aspiring to cross, is this ocean of letting the mind control us. A mind that is impure controls us. A mind that is pure is controlled by us. We studied in Shloka 19 how a thought keeps on growing and growing and growing, and what strategies we need to employ to curtail these thoughts of anger and jealousy and so forth, and so on and so forth. If we just pick up on one of the main causes of our thoughts is desires. The more desires we have, the more thoughts we have. What is it that you desire? Putting this in context, Bhagavan Krishna shares in Bhagavad Gita that I, as in God, will look after all your yoga and kshema. Yoga is what you need, I will provide, and I will protect what you need also. If we have all of our needs met, then what are we desiring? Our desires are illogical. Our desires are meaningless. No? We act like this when it comes to kids. As adults, we tell kids, you have everything you need in regards to food and clothing and toys. Why do you desire more? How are we any different when it comes to our jobs, when it comes to our status? Remember this deeply about yoga and kshema. It's surreal to think of how loving our Creator is. On Sundays mornings, then Vyasa, Sheila, and I go to the ashram, and we have one car. And then right before I start my discourse, and Vyasa and Sheila come back, and Vyasa takes a nap. So I always need a ride home. A couple of weeks ago in Bhagavatam class, I was using an example that if I were to come in your car, you probably would clean your car somewhat before I came in your car. And I randomly picked someone in the Niagara audience. And it's amazing that the last Sunday when I got a ride home, that person drove me home. And the driver told me, remember you picked me as a random person? And here you are, I'm actually driving you home now. And it may sound very small to you, but how come that person got chosen twice in reference to me? That's just the Creator showing His love to help us have faith that He will look after all of our needs and will never look after all of our wants. We just become calmer then. We just become quieter. In Shloka 20, Guruji continues sharing how these are the vices and these are the virtues that need to be practiced. One chain that I want to focus on in Shloka 20, Dvesha means dislikes. Yes? Dvesha, when unchecked, devolves into krodha. If you ever feel anger, don't think that anger is an original emotion. It's an effect, and the cause behind that effect is dislike. And if anger is unchecked, and we see a whole lot of this in the world, we see a whole lot of this in America now. For many decades, years, the typical American may not have practiced Shama, but did practice Dhamma. They may have been thinking this, but they never said it. They never acted upon it. But now a typical American, whatever's on their mind, they just say, they just do, right? So you see such growing presence of hate crimes. Krodha devolves into himsa. Himsa means harm or violence. Dvesha, krodha, himsa. We keep putting in so much efforts to address himsa when that's just the effect. We have to focus on why are people angry? That's just an effect too. Why do people dislike? Today I had a meeting with the Niagara Regional Police. in a proactive way, not in a reactive way. They have an inclusion council. So as representing Hinduism, every time they say it in my mind, I translate that into Sanatana Dharma. We were discussing hate crimes. A hate crime is not over what you've done, but who you are. Correct? Like I could have been walking for 6 kilometers, and just because of the way I look, and if someone says something mean to me or throws something at me, I'm just walking. There's 100 other people walking. But it's for who I am. My facial hair, my hair, my color of my clothes and skin. Dvesha, dislike, is quite often not about what someone's done, but rather about who someone is. And if we can go deeper into ourselves, naturally we go deeper into someone else, we won't have dvesha. It's so important to study scriptures with masters like Swami Tejamananda, Sri Ramana, etc. because we can't think like this by ourselves. We only think at the effect level, not at the cause level. Shloka 21. Kripaya bhutajam dukkham. Kripaya bhutajam dukkham. Devam jahyat samadhina. Devam jahyat samadhina. Atmajam yoga viryena. Atmajam yoga viryena. Nidram sattvan niveshaya. Nidram sattvan niveshaya. Swamiji shares here. Kripaya bhutajam dukkham. The dukkha, the sorrow that is caused by bhutajam. Bhuta means beings, those who are nearby you. How do you address that dukkha? With kripa. What does kripa mean? Kindness, graciousness. The word in the book is compassion. If you Google inspirational quotes and you go to images, one of the most popular quotes you will probably find, and I always remember this, is everyone is fighting their own battle. Correct? Everyone you meet is fighting their own battle. It could be financial, it could be political, it could be health-wise, it could be how their parents treated them, a sibling who's not well. Correct? Everyone is fighting their own battle, so why do we instigate more fighting? If you know everyone's fighting their own battle, then help them rather than harm them. That's what compassion is. We ourselves are fighting our own battle, and when someone makes it harder for us, we think, why? Why are you doing this to me? Compassion. Every person has their own swabhava. Some are more temperamental, some are more reactive, some are more calm, some are more indifferent, correct? If you have multiple siblings, you're so different than your siblings. I know some of your siblings, you're quite different from them. We come in with our own swabhava. That swabhava is not relevant to just this lifetime. That's coming from billions of lifetimes. So compassion can also be interpreted as acceptance. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and I think all of you were in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita course, and I think all of you completed the Srimad Bhagavad Gita course also. I had highlighted in chapter 6, shloka 9, where Bhagavan Krishna says, someone who knows how to contemplate, they accept, and we go through 9 different types of personalities. Someone who's a mitra, someone who cares for you even though they're not related to you. Bandhu, someone who cares for you because they're related to. So all of these relationships are highlighted. someone who's contemplative, they're cheerful with all of them. Guruji's sharing the same. And if you've read the commentary, there's a really funny description he shares that there's some people who find happiness in making other people sad. What is their name? Vigna Santoshi. Santosha or Santoshi means someone who's content. Usually it's Vigna Santoshi, that I feel happy when I help someone. Vigna Santoshi, I feel happy when I harm people. But someone who's practicing Kripaya, even when someone's trying to harm you, what are you doing? They can't harm you. You actually disarm them. Today when we were driving to another city, then Vyasa, in his car seat for 15 minutes, was going, ha 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 ha, laughing. Ha 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 ha, laughing. He was just fake laughing and describing that he was laughing. And I was thinking to myself how, irrespective of how much traffic there is or how much we have to do, when you are with someone who is not fighting themselves, how they automatically disarm everyone else, correct? For us to try to be like that. That's the first quarter. Then, Devam Jahya Samadhina. What do we do about the sorrow that comes from Daiva? So Bhutajam, Daivajam. Bhutajam means nearby, and then Daivajam means far off. Samadhina, by absorbing the mind. Here, Deva could be the weather. And it's sad when a really intense cyclone hits Odisha and Bangladesh and so on. There's nothing that we can do to stop that. We can do a lot to adapt to that, but you cannot do anything to stop that. And there's lots that happens in our lives circumstantially. When our mind is not absorbed, we get turned around by what happens. But when our mind is absorbed, then we stabilize that. In the beginning of Swami Chinmayananda's discourses on Vivekji, Acharya Shankara talks about how rare it is to be born as a human. And Swamiji uses this figure, and I didn't have a chance to do more research on this, but he said that humans make up 0.01% of the total beings' population. That means animals, plants, etc. 0.01%. Now, Deva would include all of those animals, all of those plants. So, naturally, all of those animals and all of those plants are going to affect us. Samadhina, be absorbed in what you're supposed to be doing. Then all of those plants, all of those animals, they don't agitate one. Do not agitate one. And there's so many lovely incidences that Guruji highlights about mosquitoes. I need to do contemplation on this. With mosquitoes, it's hard. You should really read how practical and personal the writings are. Reading this, it reminded me of business school, where we learned a lot about globalization. And we're very proud of globalization. But globalization has brought in a lot of agitation too, no? Before, if something happened in my city, it would concern me. But now if something happens in this remote city in another part of the world, it may happen to me too, correct? And globalization has created a lot of fear. Samadhina, focus on your responsibilities. Atmajam yoga viryena. So sorrow comes from nearby, sorrow comes from far away, and most of the sorrow comes from inside. Atmajam, born from our own selves. And how do we deal with this sorrow? Virya, the strength of yoga. Yoga means to unite with a deeper part of you. With the deeper part of you. We were discussing that we want to go to Sri Ramana's ashram. Sri Ramana had cancer. And when someone was discussing this with him, he said that the body is Vyadi Mandiram. What does Vyadi mean? Illness. Mandira means a place where illnesses are hosted. He said, if I don't host these illnesses, where will these illnesses be hosted? You know why he was able to say that? Because he never identified himself as the body. That's what yoga is. When I unite with Vivek's body to Vivek's breath to Vivek's mind, and you just keep on going like that, then whatever happens to this body, happened to the body. In the commentary, there's a analysis of willpower. That willpower only lasts so long before one's will is broken. And a simple expression of this is, I had asked you some time ago, if I guaranteed you $100,000 to go into someone's home and take their laptop, would you do it? Probably not. What if I upped it to $1 million? You don't have to work for 5 years, 10 years, depending on your income. Just quietly go into that home, make a deal with them that you'll just give them half of this money, you can keep half. See, now all of you are kind of saying no, but inside you're saying maybe, but we just can't show it because it's all being recorded right now. See our willpower. I can buy your willpower. Not me, but someone can buy your willpower. But if you're tuned into happiness, what laptop? Who cares? Do it yourself. That's what yoga has to guide us to. And this shloka is ended by Nidram Sattva Nishevaya. How does one overcome sleepiness? I always ask myself this question when I give discourses. How do you stop people from sleeping in discourses? This nidra that is mentioned in this shloka is the nidra of dependency. Someone who is ignorant is someone who depends for their happiness. It's a sign of tamas. This nidra is not just tamasic, it's rajasic also. The expression of this nidra, of rajasic nidra, is distraction. So the more dependent I am, the more distracted I am, the more darkness there is in a tamasic and rajasic way. And the way to release this sleepiness, this ignorance, is discipline. That's what sattva nishevaya means. To make sattva, discipline, a part of who one is. Discipline can't just be in a certain facet. You can't be a disciplined cooker, but an indisciplined cleaner. That default is indiscipline. One has to be disciplined in all facets of their life. Okay? So, very quick review. When there's sorrow coming from sources that are nearby me, what do? Compassion. When there's sorrow coming from far away, what do? Absorption. When there's sorrow coming from within, what do? Identification, as in deeper and deeper and deeper. If there's sorrow coming from ignorance or procrastination, what do? Discipline. And if you're following along carefully, this is known as Adi Daivika, Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmika. So what do we chant for this? Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And you chant it like that. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. That first Shanti is for you. If you find happiness in yourself, then you can find happiness around you. Then you can find happiness far away from you. So that's how you're supposed to chant it too. Not Shanti to people and you're yelling at them far away. Yell at yourself first. Let's chant this shloka. Kripaya bhutajam dukkham devam jahyat samadhina atmajam yoga viryena nidram satpad niveshaya. Study one more shloka, and then in our next class we'll complete Manah Shodanam. Rajastamascha sattvena Rajastamascha sattvena Sattvam chopashamena cha Sattvam chopashamena cha Etat sarvam gaurau bhaktya Etat sarvam guru bhaktya Purusho hyanjasa jayet Purusho hyanjasa jayet. This last section of shlokas that we're studying is so much about this is the vice, here is the virtue. This is the negation, this is a substitution. It's such a practical text if we practice. How does one be free of the vice that is tamas? With rajas. And how is one free from the vice that is rajas? With sattva. That's what's shared in the first quarter. We should think of tamas in this particular shloka as inaction. When one is procrastinating, then what should one do? Engage in action. Just do something. This afternoon we were feeling very lazy. Sheila and I were just kind of sitting around and we were waiting for Vyasa to become sleepy. When he goes to sleep, then we can do more. So both of us said, okay, let's just do stuff then. So Sheila started cleaning the counters and I started vacuuming. And we would have had to do this anyways. And so how much time was saved that instead of giving in to that tamas, that procrastination, we just did it. We have to do it anyways. Why not just do it right now? Very practical. Then rajas. Rajas is not about inaction. Rajas is about thoughtlessness. When we are thoughtless, that is that rajas. Thoughtlessness is when we don't have direction. When someone has no direction, they tend to become more angry, more jealous. And when there's no direction, there's no control. If you don't direct the mind, you don't control the mind. If you're not directing your car, you don't control your car. Think of how much damage would be caused to you and to others when there's a lack of control. Yes? When there's a lack of control, even with traffic, when the street lights are out, how slowly those flashing reds, you have to stop, then you have to go. Nobody really knows what to do, correct? So it's just whoever's most aggressive gets through fastest. And if you're really a kind driver, you're there forever. So, how do I get out of inaction? Action. How do I get out of thoughtlessness? Deliberation, intention, being careful. Now, sattva 2 is known as starts with a G. What's sattva also? Guna. Tell me the English word for guna. Put it in the chat room. It's a rope, that's correct. As long as you're sattvic, you're a jiva. So here, what Swami Tejamananda is sharing, how does one come out of sattva? One comes out of sattva by upashama. Upashama means samadhi in a very high level. This word upashama is like the word shama. Yes? Shama means quietude of mind. When you have a cool mind. Upashama is when you go from having a quiet and cool mind to having a still mind. To having a content mind. It's deeper. You have more direction, more control. Upashama. It's like the word upa. Upasana means to sit near, correct? So upashama means the mind is more near to the self. Shama, the mind, is certainly near to the self, but upashama means it's more near. These gunas, Gurudev describes as the climactic conditions. Climactic conditions. Many of us lived or live in a colder part of North America. And before there's a storm and you're driving, what do you see on the road? Drive according to winter weather conditions, correct? Or winter weather advisory. Slow down. When you know that the weather is going to affect the road like this, you adapt, correct? Do you drive as fast in a snowstorm as you do in a sunny summer day? Obviously not. Knowledge creates adaptation. The more ignorant one is, the less one adapts. The more knowledgeable one is, the more one adapts. And adaptation leads to acceptance. The more you adapt, the more you accept. What is the most important division of a organization? Most important department in a corporation? Human resources. The more you know your mind, the more you know other people's minds. You become a mentalist. People pay mentalists. You can be that mentalist. Okay. Now as we're completing this portion of Manah Shodanam, which is really a portion from Srimad Bhagavatam, so much of effect and cause, vice and virtue, it's a lot. For anger, I have to do this. For jealousy, I have to do this. For rajas, I have to do this. How do I can't even remember all of these words. And these are just some of the vices. I have 10 times these amount of vices. I have to take 100 medicines. My system can't handle all of that. So Rishi Narada tells Raja Yudhishthira, Guruji is telling all of us, Etat sarvam guru bhakti. Purusho hya jasa jayet. That when one serves, when one submits to a great being, to the Guru Shishya Parampara, all of these virtues come quickly, naturally. Coming back to Vivekji, right at the beginning, Acharya Shankara says there's 3 graces that are surreal, that are indescribable. Manushitvam, Mumukshutvam, and Mahapurusha Samshayaha. Manushitvam, Mumukshutvam, Mahapurusha Samshayaha. Manushitvam means being a human. So for all of us, check. Then we'll go to number 3, which is Mahapurusha Samshayaha. We have that opportunity to serve and submit to a master whom we're studying from, whom our Guru Shishya Parampara is from. When I say whom we're studying from, I meant Swami Tejamananda. Now the mumukshutvam, I'm going to put a squiggly, squiggly line there. We definitely have 2 check marks, but the mumukshutvam is more like a squiggly mark. If we are more grateful and more sincere about the fact that, remember that 0.01% of the beings in the world, that we're one of them. That only 0.01% of all beings have the opportunity to be enlightened, we're part of that. That we have a whole lineage of noble and enlightened masters who love us, who know us, who are coming to us. How can we not have that mumukshutva? How can we still be okay with being ordinarily happy, to live in that which is relative? Serve the Guru Shishya Parampara. The whole golden rule, the way that you want to be treated, you should treat others. The way you want to be served, the way you want to be loved, serve and love in the same way. And submit. Submit means my ego is always holding me back, making me think in the wrong way. If I just give my ego, I will not hold back. I will only engage in right thinking then. Then this Shodanam, this purity will come, like I said, quickly, naturally. We will not be dependent or distracted. Let's chant this shloka together. Rajastamascha sattvena sattvam chopashamena cha etat sarvam gauro bhaktya purusho hyanjasa jaye. Om